So get up and fight the war. This is how first part he concludes. Now he tells him much deeper part, which is about Buddhi Yoga. He says, Esha te abhita Saankhya buddhir yoge tvimam shrunu. Till now I have told about Saankhya Yoga. Now I am going to talk to you about Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi means discrimination basically here. Intelligence, but discriminating intelligence, which knows right from wrong. So he says, now you understand, I am going to teach you about Buddhi Yoga. Because Buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. Because the one who understands this Buddhi, gets this Buddhi, becomes Buddha, that person will be able to break away from karma bandhas, from the bondage of action and consequences. See, it's very important because if you fight the war, let us say Arjuna gets convinced, fights the war. But if he fights the war with the wrong attitude, he will suffer. That is the concern of Krishna. I may be able to convince Arjuna to fight the war, but I am concerned that he will have to face the consequences if his attitude is not correct in fighting the war. So I'll teach you Buddhi Yoga now so that your attitude is set right. So now you have to fight the war, but you must also know how to fight the war. So he says, Neha Vikrama Nashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. This I often quote. That even if you know a little bit of this Buddhi Yoga, this idea of dharma, greatest of the fears will be alleviated. You will not have any fear to work in this world. So how do I act in this world? If I fail, what will happen? If I succeed also, what will happen? I must know how to deal with both the success and failure. So that is the idea. He says that Krishna says, little also if you learn about it to Arjuna, you will be able to get rid of all the fears that you have. I am killing my people, I will incur sin, and all kinds of fears and illusions you will get rid of. And he says, for that you must develop one-pointed buddhi. It's called Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Your mind should be focused. Your mind should be, or your buddhi should have only one single pointed focus. Because only those people attain something in life. All others whose mind is scattered, whose thoughts are scattered, who have no focus, no steadiness, they attain nothing, he says. He says, Bahushaka hi anantascha buddhyo avyavasainam. When you have multiple thoughts running parallelly in your head, like should I kill this person? What will be the sin of it? Where will I go? Naraka, Swarga. Don't confuse yourself with too many thoughts. Keep one thought in your focus. This is my dharma, I must execute this dharma. For the sake of dharma, not for winning or losing. So he goes on saying that in our scriptures, lot of things have been spoken, Vedas. Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda is there. Karma Kanda is like our Vajashravas, who was Nachiketa's father, always busy doing some yajna, cutting corners and trying to get to Swarga, giving old cows in donation and thinking he will be somehow managed to get into Swarga. So Veda, there is next 3-4 shlokas there, you can read for yourself, which basically talks about the Karmakandis who listen to the flowery words of the Vedas, which tell if you do this, you will attain this. If you do that, you will attain that. A lot of our people are there, Lakshmi Kubera Homa you do, then you will become rich. Ayush Homa you do, you will live long. Mrityunjay Homa do, you never die. But they all do. The people are there who want to do all these things like Vajashravas. But our Krishna does not want Arjuna to become Vajashravas. He wants him to become like Nachiketa, curious to know the truth and then do his dharma. So he tells a lot of these things are there, which are all because you have gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, and to cater to the needs of these gunas, a lot of yajna yagas, karma kandas have been told. Most of the people are busy with that. Don't you get into that. He wants Arjuna before itself that there is a path, very flowery and very tempting path of going to heavens and attaining higher lokas, but don't get into that. He says you go beyond that. He says Nistrair gunyo bhavarjuna, go beyond the 3 gunas of laziness, lethargy, or passion of action, or even sattvic guna. He says you have to transcend. I am a good person. That thinking also should go away, he says, because that also can be impediment in attaining the highest. And he says don't worry about these Vedas. He gives a very beautiful example. Again, Krishna's way of teaching uses examples, uses a lot of analogies. He says what? Yava nartha udapane sarvata samplutodke. The purpose that is served by a well which has water, same purpose is served by even a big lake or even ocean. Or not ocean in the real sense, a big lake. In the sense, if you are thirsty, you can drink from a well. Or you can drink from a big lake also. It's not the size of the lake or the well, it's your thirst that is to be quenched. That matters. So don't worry about reading all the Vedas and all Vedangas and things like that. If you understand this one thing that I am telling you now, it is as good as knowing everything. See, again, Krishna makes it so easy for him. Tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. The one who knows this knows all that is there in all the Vedas. That's why Vedas, the summary of or the essence of Vedas or Upanishads, Upanishads' essence is Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita's essence is Saankhya Yoga, which Krishna is teaching now. How do we behave? And comes the most popular shloka, Karmanyeva adhikaraste, Ma phaleshu kadachana, Ma karma phalaheturbu, Ma te sangostu akarmani. He says, this is very important. The second part is more important. Most of us know the first part. Do karma and don't worry about the result. That is not your right. But the second part says that, so just because you should not desire for results, don't give up action, he says. Don't work for the sake of the action at the same time, because nothing is going to come to you at the end. Don't give up action. You should do action, but don't think of the results. And just because you are not supposed to think of the results, don't stop doing action. Many children, anyway I am going to fail tomorrow, let me sleep. For that 30 marks, why should I struggle? I'll lose one more night's sleep. No, that is not the way. You have to still do whatever you can do. Right? Because any effort put with sincerity will find its way to the rightful result. But for that sake, you should not do. And then comes another very important shloka. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddha siddhayoh samobhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Equanimity is yoga, he is concluding. He says that develop this kind of yoga, that your mind is absorbed in only the action part of it, but not on the result. That yoga you develop and don't have any attachment to the results. Siddha, whether you succeed or whether you fail, both you treat as equal. So if you do very well in a project, you get a lot of praise from me on the stage, you should be same. And if you don't do well and then you get scoldings, you should still be the same. So that is how you must learn. You sing well, I'll praise you. Don't sing well, I'll scold you. Both ways you should remain the same. But doesn't mean that I will stop practicing because anyway I get scoldings. So refer to the previous shloka. You can't give up action just because you are not succeeding. So he says, go beyond success and failure. That is samatvam, that is equanimity. That is true yoga, Krishna is saying. So he has defined what is yoga. Samatvam yoga muchyate. Yoga is said to be equanimity. So if somebody asks you what is yoga, don't start. I know yoga. I start in the morning with Surya Namaskara. After that I do something else. No. Yoga is, if you become equanimous, that is the result, that is the end purpose of all yoga, is to become equanimous in all situations. So that is the idea. I will skip a few. Another very important shloka, we picked our university's motto from this shloka, number 50. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukruta dushkrute tasmat yogaya ujjasva yoga karmasu kaushalam. Yoga is all about perfection in action. See, he says equanimity is yoga. Why? Because you are not bothering about the results. So is that enough? No. Perfecting the action, despite not bothering about the results, you must do your actions perfectly. That is also yoga, he says. Two things are there, action and the rewards. Not bothering about the rewards is yoga, yes. But bothering about the action is also yoga, he is saying. Many people don't bother about the rewards, so they also don't bother about the action. But Krishna says, no, don't bother about the rewards, but bother about the action, how you are doing it perfectly or not. That is very important. So understand this idea of Buddhi Yoga. You must act, and with all your interest in the action, you must do it to your best capacity. But don't bother about the result. Results come good, people praise you, fine. They don't come as per the expectations and something goes wrong, you are still fine because you have given your best. Now many people take refuge in this thought and say that, Swami said don't worry about the result and therefore I didn't bother and I failed. It cannot happen. I will permit you that refuge only if you have done your very best and there is nothing else you could have done. Then you are free from the sin. But if you could have done something more, but you wantingly held yourself back, you didn't give your 100% to it, at least to the best of your capacity and ability, then you are not absolved of the sin of making the project fail or making anything go wrong. You are completely responsible for it. This is Buddhi Yoga. It's so important, especially for people who are working in organizations like ours, where we have to work selflessly. The very first mandate in our organization is you serve without any expectations. Whatever comes, accept is as prasadam from God. You offered Naivedyam, you received some prasadam. At the same time, just because the prasadam is not so much as you would get elsewhere, I will also work accordingly. That does not exist. I always say, in an organization, a corporate, for a 100% gain, you work 100%, give your 100%. For a charitable organization, you have to work 200% because that is your additional contribution to the charitable organization, which is working for people's sake. So, how much you should work? Not the 8 hours of duty which you have been assigned because you are given a salary or some remuneration for that. I know you are doing very well for the 8 hours, you are doing your best. But our duty does not end there. That's what I was telling yesterday. Duty with love is not enough. Love without duty is to be practiced. That is yoga. I do because I love my children, I love all the devotees, I love the humanity. So we work for it. Whether they praise me or blame me, they are with me or they abandon me, these are not the concerns for which we work. That is the idea of yoga again. So Arjuna has become curious enough. He says, I can't imagine a state like this where I have to work and not worry about the results. Because if I'm not sure of getting results, I will not work at all. That is my habit. So what kind of people work like this, he asks. Sita prajnasya ka bhasha, he says. How these people are, how do they exist? How do they live at all? They don't bother about the results, yet they are so busy doing action with perfection. What kind of species are these? Are they humans or something else? So that is the curiosity Arjuna has got. Sita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sitaji kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. That is 54th shloka, that how these people behave, how they sit, walk, talk, without realizing that Krishna himself is standing in front of him, who is the very embodiment of the Sthita Prajna. But Arjuna is unaware. Because till now he was only a friend, a cousin, and so you never could understand that he could also be a jnani like this. That Krishna was a Sthita Prajna. Arjuna had no clue. He was living under the darkness of the lamp. So this is what he asked Krishna, and Krishna should have again smiled. According to me, one shloka should be added here. Prahasanniva Bharata, like that. Krishna smiles, oh foolish Arjuna, I am standing in front of you. Can't you make out this much, like that? But anyway, Krishna is Krishna. He has all the patience in the world. So he says, how do they are? Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan. When you give up all the desires of your heart, you don't work for any wish or any desire. Atmanyeva atmanatushta sthita prajnas tadochyute. When you are happy within yourself, for no reason. You are happy because you are just doing what you are supposed to do, what divine wills. That is what you are doing. That's why you are happy. That person is a Sthita Prajna, he says, who has no agenda in life, who has no purpose of his own. He is here only to execute the divine will. He is so connected to that divine within. He is always happy. Good happens, bad happens, and everything he is happy. That is Sthita Prajna. And he says, Dukkheshu anudvigna manaha sukheshu vigata spraha vitaraga bhaya krodha sthitadhi muni ruchyate. He gives up. His heart is not shaken by sadness or by bad news, nor he gets excited when good news comes, sukha comes. Vitaraga bhaya krodha. He has no attachment. Raga bhaya krodha. No attachment, no fear. Because no attachment, no fear, and no anger. When you have attachments, only you have anger and fear. If it doesn't happen, angry. What if it does not happen? Fear. Because of attachment. So he is free of all attachments. He is totally detached. He may appear to be very interested in everything, but he is actually not attached. That's what I tell. I ask myself every day, am I ready to drop all these things next moment? And if I must, if I have to, will I regret? Will I cry? Will I lament over it? I always ask this question to me. Every day I ask myself. And the answer always has to be, no, I will not regret. I will not attach to any of these things. That is how a Sthita Prajna must think. Must be busy day in, day out, 24/7. Work for others' welfare, not for one's sake. At the same time, be very ready to drop it any moment without any regret or attachment. That is how you must be. And beautiful shlokas are there, and he teaches him further that you must learn to withdraw your senses, because senses are the reason why they get attracted to sense objects, and they drag the mind and drag the buddhi and make you do all kinds of things. So learn to develop some control over your mind and senses. is what he tells. And he says, how do we do? Again, a beautiful example like the tortoise, which withdraws all its limbs when it sights danger. Like that, you should have the ability to withdraw everything into this Atma. He says, Yada samharate chayam kurmanga niva sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyas tasya prajna pratishtita. The wise one immediately withdraw their mind and senses. How that fellow is coming? He is definitely going to irritate me now. Can I deal with him? No. So what should I do? Escape into yourself. Get into a state of calmness so that you can deal with the person better. Running away, where you will run? Rabbit wanted to run away from the earth because he had to pay earth's debts, it seems. Where you will run away from this earth? Where will you run away from people? Where are you going to go and hide? Somebody will always be there to create some problem. So learn to face the problem is what Krishna is saying. How? First withdraw your senses within. Learn to withdraw your senses. That is what this is where Raja Yoga comes into picture. Where we have learnt about that Yam, Shama, Dama, Uparati. This is Uparati. So this is what you should do. Like a tortoise, you should immediately withdraw. And how you should withdraw? See, we may run away from the objects. For example, a very tempting thing to eat. But you are not supposed to eat because your doctor told you if you eat this, you will fall sick. But you are very tempted. So what you can do? Run away from the samosa or the gulab jamun or ice cream. Especially diabetes patients. And then what you do? Think about it whole time. Oh, how nice that gulab jamun was. Red, round, dark. It was juicy. And repent. Should I have eaten it? So what? Tomorrow Dr. Rajdeep is there. He will anyway give medicine. He doesn't scold. So that thinking. So he says very important shloka, especially for young boys and girls. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. See, all children ask me, Swami, today you gave very beautiful discourse. We were so happy. 2 days our mind was in control. Senses were all behaving themselves. Third day everything went for a toss. We are back to our old self. Like a rubber band, you stretch it, leave it, it goes back to where it is. Mind has gone back to our old ways, old habits. What do I do? So Krishna gives the answer. See, dhiraharasya dehina, when you deprive your body of all the sense objects, for that moment body may withdraw from the senses. Then mind will naturally go. So niraharasya dehina, when you withdraw don't allow the body, then it may be possible to control the body for some time. But how do you get rid of the thought itself, he says. Action you can avoid. By some discipline, warden is around, I can't do this. But without warden also, how do you not crave for it? That is the answer. Krishna says, Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Only when you see the param, the highest experience of Atman, when you have param drishtva nivartate. After that, this rasa, the interest in these worldly things, not only the external giving up of things, but even internal longing for it will disappear. You cut the grass, lawn, mower. Grass goes away, lawn looks neat, but the root remains. And the root grows back again after 2 days. Likewise, the desire for it may remain deep within us. Temporarily it is subdued because of the wardens and the discipline of the place. But the moment these things are removed, again it will grow up. So what is the permanent solution? Permanent solution is realize yourself. Krishna says very clearly. Param drishtva nivartate. After that it will never trouble you. If you attain that self, these lower desires will not trouble you. You don't have to run away from them. They can be all around you. You are not affected like Buddha. You have grown beyond it. You have overcome those desires. You have outgrown them. That happens only when you realize yourself. So those who ask me, Swami, how do I control? Final solution to that is realize yourself. That is the final method. Like our Chanakya story I tell, when a thorny bush pricked his foot. He didn't cut the bush. He got some sugar syrup and poured on that bush so that ants will come and eat it up from the roots. It will never grow again. So that method is to realize the divine self. Then all the desires will disappear once for all without a trace. So there is no question of them growing back again in another time and situation. So he says, whatever we do, haranti pasabham mana. Mind is very powerful. You have to be watchful. It pulls you away. That's why somewhere it was mentioned, yogo hi prabhavapyayo in Kathopanishad, that yoga is good, but yoga is prone to growth and decline. Someday you are a great yogi, you have everything under control. Next day you lose control. But this method of param drishtva will make you permanently capable of overcoming everything. It won't trouble you anymore. And so he says that prajna pratishtita, those people who are established in that highest wisdom are those who have complete control on themselves because they have realized the truth. They have tasted the highest, therefore they don't have craving and desires for the lower. There's a beautiful shloka, 2 shlokas I will take, then we'll more or less come to an end. Dhyayato vishayan punsa, you know that. Sangasteshu upajayate, sangat sanjayate kamaha, kamat krodho vijayate, krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibramaha, smriti bhramshat buddhi nasho, buddhi nashat pranashyati. 8 steps to one's ruin. Krishna is so logical. That is why Saankhya Yoga is beautiful. And it says, if you think of something for too long, you will develop attachment to it. Once you develop attachment, you will develop desire for it. Once you develop desire and you are not able to fulfill it, you will develop anger for it. If anger comes, then you will develop delusion, because an angry man is like a drunk man, can't think straight, can't think right. And once you are deluded, all your discrimination goes for a toss. You cannot remember what is right, what is wrong. You speak whatever comes to your mouth. And once your discrimination is lost, your buddhi, intelligence to make the right decision is lost. And once that is lost, you are destroyed. It's very beautifully how to get rid of things. Patanjali Yoga Sutta says, Drishta Anushravika Vishaya Vitrashnasya Vashikara Sangya iti Vairagyam, he says. Drishta, even if you have seen it, you can develop desire. Or that which you have heard about, you have not seen. Almost the last shloka we are coming to. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. He says that person who is wise is like the one who is awake when everybody is sleeping, and he is sleeping when everybody is awake. So that sounds very familiar, like our medical school students. When everybody is awake, they go to sleep. When everybody sleeps, they come awake, start reading. No, they are not Brahmagyanis. They are Agyanis of the highest order. What it says is that what seems like everybody is aware and everybody is knowledgeable about, like our relatives give suggestions, no? Do this, do that, don't go to that Baba, don't be in that ashram, you will become this, you will become that. They think they are all aware, they are all very Gyanis. But they are the Agyanis, that is what it means. Because they are running behind the worldly things, giving up the higher truth. Whereas those who are in this ashram, they all have realized, at least they have understood the highest purpose of life is to realize divinity. Everything else is secondary, in fact not even necessary, unwanted actually. But the person who sees us from outside will think, what kind of mad people are these? It is like that. So this comparison that when they are asleep, he is awake. When he is asleep, they are awake. They're contrary to each other in their approach towards life is what it is being said. They put so much of effort to gain worldly things and have no desire for God. Whereas we want God and we are able to ignore worldly things, so they laugh at us. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa would say, for a man who is world intoxicated, the God intoxicated person looks like a madman. For a God intoxicated person, the world intoxicated person looks like a madman. So we can never understand them, they can never understand us. Because they are living in another world. They are sleeping when we are awake. But they think the other way. So this is how it finally comes, and there is the last shloka which says that such a person, like an ocean, he becomes like an ocean, which can absorb any amount of water and still it remains undisturbed. That is the nature of the Sthita Prajna. Good comes, bad comes, more comes, less comes, praise comes, blame comes, whatever comes, he is able to absorb it all. Accommodate it within himself and not get disturbed despite that. That is how you must fight the war, he tells Krishna. Every answer to every question that anyone can ever ask in this world is there in this. I cannot become a sannyasi, all right. I don't believe in Atma, all right. You believe in birth and death, at least that transience should make you think twice. Why you are running behind the wrong things which are going to disappear tomorrow? Think of something higher. Your sukha, dukkha, labha, alabha, one day happy, one day sad. How long this drama will go on? When will you cross all this and grow above this? When will you go beyond these gunas? This question we have to ask ourselves every day. Till when I am going to fight with my senses an endless war? Most of the time I am the one who is bruised and lost the war. How long this battle is going to go on? Like Rakta Bijasura, one goes and another comes. How long these desires will keep chasing me? When will I overcome all this and become a Sthita Prajna is the question everybody should ask themselves. That is what Krishna is pushing Arjuna towards. And where it begins? Kuru Seva, Tvam Kuru Seva. For what sake? For Loka Sangraha. For the benefit of others, without desire. Begin there. That's why it says service, selfless service is the shortest route to divinity. And what an opportunity in these institutions. Your job is service. Your work is your worship. Your, your daily chores are your sadhana here. Can you ask for a better opportunity? And given according to your likes and dislikes. Somebody likes cooking, he's a cook. Somebody is a musician, somebody is a teacher, somebody is a doctor. You have every opportunity to do exactly what you are born to do as per your gunas. At the same time, you have the opportunity to redeem yourself. Can you ask for a better opportunity than this? If anybody who throws it away, Atmahano Janaha, that is what scriptures say. You have killed yourself, harakiri. You have committed suicide. But Arjuna was sincere. He really wanted to change. So that's why Krishna was compassionate. But I feel very terrible about people who don't understand this basic. And they keep running behind the same thing, having hurt themselves any number of times. Yet they go behind it. It's like the dog biting the dry bone and sucking his own blood and thinking the blood is coming from the bone. That is the foolishness and madness of this world. That's why all these jnanis can do nothing but just look at the whole world with pity. But I feel compassion, like Krishna. No, I must help them come out of this foolish thinking. I must wake them up. I must make them aware of what is right, what is wrong. And if you are a good disciple, Shishyasteham, then you have wonderful opportunity to learn. Every aspect of this organization, institution gives you ample opportunities to practice Saankhya Yoga. It is only up to you how far you want to do it. So how much you do, like as I said, whether you dip into a lake or dip into a pot of water or dip into a well, as per the size of your cup, you will attain that water. So how much you gain out of this environment, this opportunity, these institutions depends on you, not on me, not on anybody else. So don't look here and there, look within, look around as to what you can do more and become a better jnani, a better person, better devotee, better sevaka, and a jnani at the end, a sthita prajna. So your measure of your spiritual progress is how quickly you go back to that zero state. I keep telling, there could be a fluctuation, but you must come back to the steady state. How quickly you come back is the measure of your progress. Earlier it used to take 2 days to overcome your sadness or anger or frustration. Now it happens within 2 hours, you are back to steady state. It means you have progressed. Next time it is 2 minutes, you are back to your peaceful state. You are really progressed. Next time you don't fluctuate at all. You have become jnani. This is the essence of this thing. Work as worship. Do selflessly without desires of the outcome, but nevertheless give your 100% best for the welfare of others. Do your duty to the best of your ability. Offer it all to God. And always discriminate between right and wrong. Keep your mind and senses under control and continue to practice equanimity in your life. This is the essence of this chapter. Knowing fully well that all around is temporary. Atma alone is real and you don't have to worry about dying and being born again. As long as you follow this, you will lead a peaceful, equanimous life and you will find fulfillment.